Well, have you ever had one of those books that you just don't want to end? This is that book. Claudia told me she picked it up at the San Antonio airport while she was visiting home and just wasn't able to put it down. She said it truly touches on the complications of true love and the tragic outcomes of once wonderful mistakes. So author Katie Gutierrez joins us now to talk about this incredible book. Katie, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Hi, Danny. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, it's my pleasure. Okay, so I want you to tell me all about this book first. Claudia told me a little bit about it, and it sounds wonderful. Tell me about your book.
Sure. More Than You'll Ever Know is about Laura Rivera, who's a South Texas woman secretly married to two men at the same time in the 1980s, and Cassie Bowman, who's an aspiring true crime writer in 2017 who becomes obsessed with telling Laura's story. So it's an examination of marriage, motherhood, female ambition and desire, and our cultural obsession with true crime.
Wow, I love that. Okay, this is hitting every single thing that I love in a book. I'm so excited to pick this up. This is great. Tell me about the process about writing this book and how you kind of made it come to fruition for you.
The process was pretty chaotic, to be honest. I started writing it the same month that I found out I was pregnant with our first child.
Wow.
And I thought at the time I would be able to finish a full draft by the time she was born, which didn't even remotely happen. It actually took me about 3 years to write the book before it was even sold to a publisher. And most of the writing time and editing time was done during my daughter's naps and then my two children's naps. So I really owe this book to both of them being good nappers for a solid few years at least.
Wow, that's actually pretty impressive too, because I feel like a lot of parents tell me that's not the case. So I'm really happy they were able to nap too, because this book sounds so incredible. And obviously now that it's come to fruition, you're getting some great feedback. You have to give us the scoop too, Katie. Are any of the characters based on any real life people? Is there anything we should know?
The only character I would say is somewhat based on, or I would say inspired by a real life person, is the character of Fabian Rivera, who's Lore Rivera's original husband. And I actually based part of his experience on my dad. I'm from Laredo, Texas, which is where the book takes place, as well as Mexico City. And during the 1980s in Laredo, there was an international recession happening that caused the devaluation of the Mexican peso. And Laredo, being right on the border of Texas and Mexico, is really reliant on income from across. So when the peso devalued, a third of Laredo lost their jobs.
Wow.
So in the 80s, my dad owned an electrical supply store. And as a result of the recession, he ended up going back and forth from Laredo to Austin on and off for 2 years just to kind of try to make ends meet. He was sort of selling ceiling fans from his car and, sleeping on warehouse floors and showering at gyms, just trying to make it work. And so I grew up hearing some of these stories, and they inspired me to create the character of Fabian. And then I think, here and there are some little Easter eggs that people in my life might recognize, but nobody is directly taken from real life.
Wow, that is incredible, and what an amazing honor, I'm sure, for your dad to be able to see that he has been in one of your books, which is so incredible. Well, this book, too, has been getting amazing reviews. People have been talking about this book, which is so wonderful. It's actually been highly praised, to being on the list of Good Morning America's book club picks. So what do you think what makes this book so compelling? What makes everybody really, gravitate towards this book?
I think that people might pick it up for different reasons. I think that there are those who love a good mystery with a true crime angle, and I think there is that aspect that fulfills that part of their interest. I think I'm hearing a lot from people who actually grew up here in South Texas and who are Mexican American, like I am, and who are not used to seeing themselves in books like this. And it turns out to be, so I think, surprisingly meaningful for them to see home and our community is represented in this kind of story. And then I think also there's a really strong theme about motherhood and marriage in here that I think is resonating with a lot of women readers in particular. So I think, that I hope that there is something for a lot of different types of readers, depending on what they're sort of looking for.
Definitely. Well, Katie, this is so incredible. Before I let you go, is there anything else in the works for you? Anything else we can expect?
Yeah, I'm working on my next novel. It's very early days. So all I'm really allowed to say is that it takes place in South Texas, and it's about three women who are connected over 20 years by a teenager's forced birth and the kidnapping that follows.
Wow. Oh my goodness. These books are all so compelling. I'm so excited to read this, Katie. Thank you
Thank you.
so much. Yes. And I'm going to have to steal Claudia's copy because she can't stop talking about it. So thanks again
Oh,
for
thank
joining
you.
us. Yes. All right, guys, you're going to want to read this book. This is a great one. If you're ready for that good read, steamy, evocative, all of the things, pick up Katie Gutierrez's More Than You'll Ever Know wherever books are sold, or check out katiegutierrez.net.